Welcome to the course Water Resource Engineering. Today we are going to see the types of irrigation. And I am Mr. S. Saugule, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department. So in last lecture we have seen what is the irrigation, what are the types of irrigation, what is the need of irrigation, uh, what is the ill effect of irrigation. So today we are going to see what are the types of irrigation. So basically it is divided into the two parts, that is surface irrigation and subsurface irrigation. So as the name indicates, surface irrigation deals with the water which is on the ground or above the earth surface, that is into the rivers or into the ponds, etc. And the subsurface irrigation deals with the water below the ground, that is in tube wells or in the Cartesian river you might have heard. So the surface irrigation, it is further divided into the flow irrigation and lift irrigation. When the water is available at higher level and it is supplied to the lower level by the mere action of gravity, then it is called as a flow irrigation. And the lift irrigation, when the water is lifted by some mechanical means such as by pumps, etc. Earlier we used man or the animals to lift the water and then supplied to the irrigation, that is to the crops, then it is called as a lift irrigation. So basically, tube wells for the supplying irrigation falls under this category. So this is the flow irrigation, that is we are flowing the water into the crop fields. So again, the flow irrigation can be further divided into the perennial irrigation and flood irrigation. So what is perennial irrigation? So in this type of source of water is from the river, which is perennial. It means the water is available throughout the year. A weir or barrage is constructed across this river, and sometimes dams may be constructed to form a reservoir upstream. The main canal with the regulator is constructed where one or both banks supply water to the crop field. This type is reliable as the water available during the whole period of the year. As we can see, there are so many dams in our area, that is in Western Maharashtra, which used to provide the uh, water throughout the year by storage. So this is the perennial irrigation. Here you can see the reservoir and the water has been supplied by using the canals, and here the dam has been constructed. So in the perennial irrigation, there are again the direct irrigation, that is diversion scheme, and storage irrigation, that is storage scheme. So in direct irrigation, no storage of water upstream of diversion weir is provided. The water is directly diverted to the canals without any storage. The water through the canals with regulators is diverted directly to the canal. And in storage irrigation, that is storage scheme, the dam is constructed across the reservoir to store water upstream in the reservoir. It is of bigger magnitude. Water stored is used for hydroelectric production, water supply, etc., other than the irrigation, depending upon the volume of the water stored. A network of canal system is used. In the scheme, bigger area could be irrigated to raise the more crops. The scheme is costlier than other scheme. Uh, the constructing dam is the most costlier thing in this whole the system. That is, but the benefits are more. As we can see in our this region, there are so many dams are there which we use to store the water, and some bigger dams like Koina, in that we can use the water for the water supply for so many cities around this area, and again we are using the water for the hydroelectric production also. And if you see the example of the direct irrigation, the Ganga canal system is the example of this kind of system. So this is the direct irrigation, that is diversion scheme, and this is the storage irrigation. That is, here you can see the reservoir and the dam has been constructed over here, and by using these canals we are providing water to the crop field. Now, the combined storage and diversion scheme. In this system, a dam is constructed across a river to form a reservoir. This stored water is used to produce electricity. A powerhouse is constructed just downstream of the dam. The discharge from the lower house is fed back into the river downstream of the dam, and a pickup weir at a suitable site is constructed to divert this available water to the crop field by the canal. This type of scheme, along with the main aim of irrigation, the following aims or purposes may be served. That is, with the irrigation, it can generate the electricity, it can used for water can be used for the water supply, for the regular use in households. Then flood control in the river valley, that is the most considerable thing in this our region, that is uh, since in 2005, 2006, and in last year, that is 2019, we have the biggest floods in this region, and so many debates were there for the floods, that is how to control flood by using these dams, that is Koina, again that Almaty is there. So many things are there, and so many theories has been proposed to control the flood by using these kind of things, or the floods. Then fishery business is there, and the recreational centers. As we have discussed in last lecture, we can create so many recreational centers near the dams or these kind of schemes, as we have the water bodies available over there. So this is the combined storage and divergence scheme. So here you can see the upstream storage of the water. Then by after leaving water to the downstream, by generation or after generation, we can store again in the small reservoir and use that water to through the small canals. Uh, we can provide the water to the crop fields for the irrigation. Then the flood irrigation. In this type of irrigation, there is a no control structure like weir, barrage, regulator, etc. are constructed. During the rainy season, the water level in the river rises and the canal bed kept below the high flood level of the river. The portion of water above the canal bed is diverted to the inundate the crop field. This inundation water is drained off or allowed to absorb in the crop field prior to the planting the crop. The whole system depends on the water level in the river. Although no such expenditure involved in this system, over irrigation may damage the crops, therefore, this system is not popular. So, in this system, we don't have any control. As the water level in the river rises, it falls from the high flood level into the canals, and then that water is supplied to the crop fields. So again, we don't have any control. So because of which the over irrigation, or sometimes due to drought, we cannot get any water. So that's why this system is not popular. So we can see the field has been flooded because of the this irrigation system, flood irrigation. Now the subsurface irrigation. So it is the term as subsurface irrigation because in this type of irrigation, water does not wet the soil surface. The underground water nourishes the plant roots by capillarity. It may be divided into the two types, that is natural sub irrigation and artificial sub irrigation. So in natural sub irrigation, leakage water from channels etc. goes underground and during passage through the subsoil, it may irrigate crop sown on lower lands by capillarity. Sometimes leakage causes the water table to rise up, which helps the irrigation of crops by capillarity. When the underground irrigation is achieved simply by a natural process without any additional extra efforts, it is called as a natural sub irrigation. And the artificial sub irrigation, when a system of open joints drains is artificially laid below the soil so as to supply water to the crops by capillarity, then it is known as artificial sub irrigation. So in this system we have to supply water artificially to the crops by using these underground trenches or pipes. So it is very costly process and hence adopted in India on very small scale. It may be recommended only in some special cases with favorable soil condition and for cash crops of very high return. Sometimes, sometimes irrigation water may be intentionally collected in some ditches near the field, and the percolation water may then come up to the roots through the capillarity. Now the lift irrigation. So it is the process of lifting water normally from underground sources and sometimes from surface sources by pump, that is the mechanical power or man or animal power, and then direct this lifted water is supplied to the agricultural field. So here you can see, and this picture is more common in this area, that is in western Maharashtra, that so many schemes are there, and we used to supply the water to the crop fields or to the farms in by using this kind of irrigation. And so many irrigation scheme by with the group of so many 10, 15 or 100 farmers, this scheme has been adopted the in the villages nearby the rivers. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of two types of irrigation, that is flow irrigation and lift irrigation? So in the lift irrigation, farmers can supply water to the crop field according to their needs. Hence there is no possibility of over irrigation which may occur into the flow irrigation. Actually in flow irrigation we have to depend on the gravity more rather than controlling the things. Only the control we have is the because of the dams or the these crusts near to the canal. So we have more control in the lift irrigation. And nowadays the water table has been lowered considerably. So there is no possibility of water of surface irrigation. So we need to adopt the lift irrigation, and this is the need of our. So in lift irrigation, as water is directly applied to the field, the loss of water due to seepage in conveyance of flow irrigation is, in which the conveyance is flow irrigation is more. So in the lift irrigation, we mostly use pipes and the closed conduits. So the seepage and evaporation is less as compared to the flow irrigation, in which water is flowing on the land and coming to the farm. So because of which the seepage and evaporation is more in the flow irrigation. Then the initial cost of construction in the flow irrigation system is quite high, as we have to go for the barriers like dam or weir or other hydraulic structure like canal headwork, silk excluder or a rejector, etc. But in lift irrigation, the initial cost is quite low as compared to the flow irrigation because it does not require any hydraulic structure. Simply it needs a pipe network and the pumps. As the loss of water is small in lift irrigation, duty of water is very high. So more water is going towards the field. So we are taking more yield from the water which is available. So maintenance cost of flow irrigation is again high than the lift irrigation. So because of all these structures, that is dams, weirs, canals, the maintenance cost of the flow irrigation is more as compared to the lift irrigation. Then more than one crop may be grown in a year in the same crop field in the lift irrigation. So as we have the water available as per our need, so we can go for more crops than one in the field because of the lift irrigation. Then last is the yield of crop in the flow irrigation is more than the lift irrigation. Basically, yield of crop is depending on the amount of water we are going to provide to the or how much it is the irrigated. In flow irrigation, the amount of water is high in as compared to the lift irrigation. So basically, the yield is more. But nowadays we have so many efficient systems which by with the help of which we can provide the water more efficiently, just like in the drip system, to the crop, and we can yield more rather than the flow irrigation. In our region, we are using the combination of these two systems, that is, we are using the dams, canals, etc. to supply the water near to the villages, and then by using small lift irrigation systems we are supplying water to the or we are taking water to the fields. So this is all about the types of the irrigation. So next, we are going to see the techniques of water distribution in the farms. That is, we are going to see in the next lecture. So, that is all for today's lecture. Good day and thank you.